All right. What's up, guys?
What's up?
Going on.
All right. So, thanks everyone for joining. But I want to be clear from the start. This live isn't about motivation, it's about responsibility. A lot of people are watching real estate content every day, but very
Mm.
few actually are building assets. The gap isn't intelligence, the gap is structure. Tonight we're going tonight we're not going to hype you up. We're here to help you think and move differently. If you're tired of watching and already building something real, you're in the right room. All right. So I'll let you guys introduce yourself for people that don't know you. So Brandi, I'll let you go first, and then Stacy, you go.
Hey guys, my name is Brandi Baker, and I'm the coach at House of Overflow. And what I do, I specialize in helping students purchase and real estate investments and then either fix and flip or buy and hold. And I'm so glad to be here tonight.
Thanks, Brandi.
What's going on? I'm Stacy Spencer, and I'm a real estate entrepreneur, investor, and construction company owner as well. So I'm just here to give back to the community, provide information, and just open dialogue. It's an honor for the invitation from Dom. So yeah, I am.
Love it.
All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes tonight.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So let's open up with Brandi. So
I'm
Brandi,
ready.
let's give more in-depth detail about how you help your students. That's the first thing that we'll do.
In-depth detail about how I help my students. Well, I think the biggest thing about the real estate space is that there are a lot of gatekeepers. And what I found early on when I was doing flips is that a lot of people would come to me and say, hey, look, I only know like these few pieces of what to do, but nobody wants to really tell me everything that I need to know to be successful in flipping a house. They're like, oh, you just need to get a loan, or oh, you just need to find a deal, or right? And those are all roadblocks if you really do this, because honestly, to find a deal, you need to know strategy. You need to have a system. You need to have software, right? And that's what I do. I teach my students the behind the curtain strategies that people don't like to expose because they feel like if everyone knows about real estate or flipping, everybody's going to do it and I'm not going to have anything for myself. And it's impossible for, you know, I can't even teach enough people to get, to take real estate away from me making money. It's not even, and most of the time, even when people learn, they're not always going to act immediately. And everybody can't handle the same capacity. So while I might teach 10 students, that might be 10 houses that year. And there's 5,000 plus houses on the MLS right now. So the reality, the numbers are just so insane when it comes to housing that I just help my students, number one, change their mindset. Number two, get the real steps to flipping or, buying, holding. And then number three, learning how to execute. How do you execute knowledge, right? How do you act on what you learn?
So I'm glad that you said mindset, right?
Yep.
The beginner mindset mistakes that kill first deals. That's what I want to talk about first.
I love it.
And Stacy, you could chime in too, because I know you have been doing real estate a long time as well. So what's the biggest mindset mistake beginners make?
I'm gonna speak for myself. I think that beginners assume that they don't need enough help from mentors or professionals in the space, right? They assume that once someone says you got to find a deal, then you're going to flip a house, you're going to get a contractor, and then boom, you're going to make money. They don't take into consideration that there's like holding costs, there's monthly payments, there's lender fees, there's attorney fees, there's contractors that can make you pay up front when you really need to make sure you pay them every week. There's so many things involved that you don't like, the details that you don't even consider because you don't have the knowledge at hand, right? You've never done it before. So I think the inexperience, sometimes we'll learn a little bit and then we want to do a lot with a little bit instead of understanding more and acting on more information and details from mentorship, professionals, other people that are doing the work. And it took me a year to do one flip. And my dad's a builder. So I actually know about electrical work. I actually know about building. I know about carpentry. I know about all these things. And it still took me forever. And I assumed, oh, I know what to do. Like, once I get the deal, I'm going to just rehab. And that rehab kicked my butt.
Don't be ashamed. It happens to the best of us,
Exactly.
especially that first one.
I'm saying it on here. It kicked my butt.
So, Stacy, I know you said on one of our lives, hidden fees. And Brandi, you just spoke a lot about hidden fees and not having a mentor, not having a coach, trying to do it by yourself, just jumping in. So, Stacy, from your perspective, even if it was just your first deal, and I know we've already went through this, what is the biggest mistake that beginners make in real estate from your perspective?
I think they watch too much HGTV. You know, that's just the way to sum it up. It's not it's not glamorous. You know, it's you get into it thinking you about to have a photo shoot. It's gonna be glamorous, and you know you're gonna buy this house, and you're gonna make a few phone calls. Everybody's gonna run in, and every contract. You know what I mean? Every contract is gonna be on point, and it's gonna take me a week to do this and a week to do that.
Yep.
And I'm gonna tell them to do this and I'm gonna tell them to do that. And when you go through all of that and it didn't work how you thought it was gonna work,
so true.
Reality sets in.
So true.
Reality sets in, and the dollars keep going out the door because there's holding expenses, and the money's not coming in. And then reality hits, and it's oh wow, this is real money I'm playing with. It's not HGTV.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest, is just having a expectation management. I guess that's the word for that.
That's so good.
So I guess I'll go next. I know I haven't been in real estate like you guys right now, but as far as mindset, I'm like a psychological coach more so than technical. So I train your mind to think a certain way. And breaking things down into shorter increments, it will help anyone to accomplish what they're trying to do on a consistent basis. And I don't see real estate being any different from that. Sure. You need a coach, you need tools, and you need the people around you to help you accelerate your growth. So going into homeowner versus investor thinking, what's the difference, Brandi?
Homeowner versus investor. I mean, initially everyone thinks the same, right? They're thinking about basics like, I need an agent. I need someone to tell me how to find the houses, where to go. I think an investor, what I've noticed and what I try to steer my students into understanding when it comes to mindset and you're looking at deals is you're not going to live here, right? Like, this is not for you. This is for someone else. You're actually entering the market as a provider of real estate. You're providing a service to someone else in the form of real estate. When you go to the grocery store, they're providing food for you. So now you have to change your mindset. You want to create a product that is for the general public. So there's different styles, different tastes, different ideas, you have to be so broad in how you design, right? Because you can't focus on what you like. Some people love orange and they don't mind living in a property with the orange paint colors on the walls. But that doesn't serve the general public because most people don't want to have those type of bold colors in their property. So just helping my students understand, you're not living here. You don't need courts. The neighborhood doesn't even have courts. You don't live here. You don't need automatic flushing toilets, right? That's super cool, but you don't need that here. You don't even have to have a refrigerator sometimes. You can sell the property without, someone would buy it without a refrigerator? Yes. Yes, they will. They will put a refrigerator in here. They'll be so glad that there's so much other work that's been done that they don't even have to worry about when it comes to the systems of the house, electrical, plumbing, right? They're like, this house is basically new. All I have to do is buy a refrigerator. This is great, right? So I think that's the big thing, just helping them understand when they look at a property, it's not for them to think about living in it. It's for them to consider that they're providing a product for the general public to move into and live in.
All right. Thanks, Brandi. So, Stacy, I'm gonna let you answer the same question. What's the difference between homeowner and investor thinking? And I know you started out as a homeowner, and then you grew into an investor and builder. So let's hear from you. You're muted, Stacy. Hold on. There you go.
She hit the nail on the head, to be honest. Other than numbers, I think from an investor standpoint versus a homeowner, you really just have to she hit everything else, she nailed it. I'm talking dead on. But the numbers, when it comes to the numbers, is really drilling into what makes sense for an investment versus you like the property. You know, like just is detaching from how you feel about it and digging into the numbers. And if you love the property, everything about the property, but the numbers don't work, well, it's just a bad deal. So it's really just putting emotional attachment. It's purely about the numbers when it comes. Well, you know, there's some other areas, but the number one thing is the numbers. Do the numbers make sense as an investor?
So Brandi, I know. Go ahead, Stacy. Sorry.
Versus a homeowner, those numbers could be a little bit more flexible. You know, you might go over your budget a little bit when you buy your primary house, or not your budget, but your target. You know, so.
Brandi, you're on mute.
I was gonna say exactly. You might not mind either because you're gonna live there for 10 years. You'll like live off that extra 5. Like, right? You had an experience for the extra hot tub you put in the backyard for $20,000.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
And Brandi, you have a financial background, right?
Yep.
So you help your students when it comes to crunching those numbers, correct?
Yes.
So let's talk about that a little bit more.
So this is like underwriting deals. And I made a lot of like, even with my financial background. So I'm a finance major, and I was a controller. I've been for like a $60 million company in Greensboro. So I've done a lot of budgeting. I've done a lot of like project management, cost control. I was a cost accountant. So I've done a lot of that spreadsheet work. And so what I teach my students is how to use a spreadsheet so that they can budget, keep the data of like repairs and how much they paid for labor and how much they're spending, all the expenses, even including the fees that people don't keep an eye on, like how many mortgage payments did you make, right? Because it's easy to do big numbers. It's easy to get a calculator out and say it's going to be 250 minus what I'm going to spend minus what I paid. I'm going to make 100. But really, the real estate commission cost, right? The commission fees, and then you bought it and you paid closing costs. You sold it and you paid closing costs. That could be $20,000 right there in fees that you're spending, right? So you thinking you have $100,000 profit, but really you ended up with 45. And you're like, where did the other money go, right? Understanding those numbers, crucial. And I have a special spreadsheet that I use, and it literally, like, my students only have to put 3 numbers into it. And when they put those 3 numbers in, it does the work for them. It tells them, hey, Brandi does not want you to do this deal. Either lower the purchase price or lower the rehab, or you cannot do this deal. Period.
Mama said no.
Don't do it. Yeah. And you can do it. My students have done it. Some of my students are like, I'm just gonna go for it. And I'm like, perfectly fine. Long as you know that this was outside, I'm saving this spreadsheet. So you know that I said if you go under this number, there's a chance that there's other costs that you may incur. Your contractors might be more expensive than we estimated. Your material costs might cost more. The market may shift and the value may decrease in the property, the sales value. You might think it's going to be 250. You might end up having to sell it for 238. All of these things are huge factors to that little margin that you're trying to get from the beginning, right? And if you keep eating it down, now you made $8,000 in 6 months. Now you're looking at me mad. Don't be mad at me.
Stressed.
Don't be mad at me. Because I too have made $8,000. So it's okay. I know how you feel, but this is why the margin is higher, because we want to make sure you fall in the 20 to 30 range, right? So it's more it's more valuable for you.
I love that. What beginners overthink that doesn't matter yet? That's something that I want to really touch on. Like overthinking can be a problem in any environment. So in the real
Absolutely.
estate environment, what are some things that beginners overthink that shouldn't even matter right now?
Stacy,
Brandi,
I'm gonna let you take it.
yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna go straight to design. Like they want to like, oh man, I want to have these colors and I want to have this and
Yep.
all. And it matters, but not as in the beginning. That's the least thing you should worry about is what kind of flooring you're gonna put in your house. You know, when you're trying to acquire it, I'll say that. So
Absolutely.
up front, just trying to get into the game is getting more into the weeds and the details of specific properties versus learning the game itself. I can't hear you.
Dom, you're on the mute.
Your turn.
I'm trying to control the volume here. Sorry. But Brandi, you're up. So let's hear what you got to say about that as well.
I think something interesting for me is that um focusing, like, people, I want to take what Stacy said and think about it kind of like reverse. I think because of them focusing on the end product, because they're so excited to get to what color are they going to paint the outside of the house, what color are they going to paint the walls, what appliances are we going to buy, what countertops are we going to buy, right? They forget that they're there to learn from the people that are doing the work, right? Like, it is like when you start a project, that is the time for you to learn everything. You have to go there every week. If somebody is doing framing, you need to see what it looks like for a house to be framed. I can't teach you verbally what a framing is like. You need to be in the property, right? I can't teach you verbally what drywall is like, or the things that a plumber does when he's doing plumbing. Go to the house and ask questions. Why are these pipes here? Why did you use blue? Why did you use red? Why do you have this type of material? What kind of material is this? Right? And I think that roughing phase of a property being rehabbed is like the most important time for someone to learn, instead of focusing on the finish part phase of the project, because the finish phase is what everybody can see. The roughing phase, no one can see that. And when I say roughing, I mean how the pipes are laid in the wall, how the electrical wiring is in the wall. And that's also a critical part of design. Like, piping is the design.
Yes.
When you go to the hotel and the faucet comes out of the wall instead of out of the vanity, that's piping design. Like, the pipe in the wall has to be put in properly so that you can even have that type of faucet. You know, you see those lights in the ceilings in certain places. This is electrical design, right? And I think that a lot of times when I'm teaching, because students aren't going to the houses more often, they lose sight of that part of the educational process, right? And that's just something you wouldn't really think about unless you have a coach.
Agreed. Agreed.
Coaches do matter a lot.
Agreed.
Yep.
I agree with that.
So let's talk about mindset shift before successful deals. And Brandi, I'll let you lead off this time because we're about to go into long-term thinking versus short-term chasing with Stacy. But what kind of mindset shift did you have before you successfully closed your first deal?
I think my most successful deal came from me not being as excited to have a deal. Like, when I was like, the excitement was over, and I'm not saying that I didn't enjoy it, but I wasn't like, I need to have this deal, or this, I need to make this deal work. right? I think it was like, I was like, no, the house is 80. I'm paying 80. Yeah, and call me back if no one, right? Because now I'm like, no, I know how the numbers work. I've already screwed up numbers a few times. I'm good. This is 80 and I only can spend 60 and I'm going to make this much money. I'm going to actually make my 80 that I want to make this time. So, no, I'm not doing that. And I waited to get the deal that I knew made sense. And when I did that, the reward was huge. And I was like, hey, now I can do less deals because the reward makes sense instead of chasing all these other deals because I'm trying to make a deal happen. I waited for the right deals and then I did fewer deals and made the same amount of money with less effort.
Those are gems. What do people do? What they do this? So I know it sounds like your patience went up
Absolutely.
and your anxiety for trying to hurry went down.
Absolutely.
Hurry and make a deal. Hurry and close a deal. Like you're just
Yep.
on that treadmill, like I talked about earlier in the week. Like just running, getting tired, and you're not making that much money. But when your patience went up, you're like
Yep.
you were firm on what you wanted. That's when it changed.
Yep.
Stacy, I saw your smile.
The wheels were churning.
You were like, oh yeah. So Stacy, let's talk about it.
Well, she hit the nail on the head with she detached from the emotional side and
Yep.
stuck to the process, and that's the key is, okay, great. I want this. I want it, but the numbers don't work. So I'm not buying it or I'm not closing. I'm not attempting this deal because it just don't make sense. So that's what I heard. And it was like, that's what it is. That's really what it's about, is being able to say emotionally, yeah, there's something there's something that makes me want to do this deal, but when I look at the numbers on the paper, it just does not make sense, and I'm not in love with it, or I'm able to control my emotions and focus more on the numbers. So that's what made me smile.
So I mean, I know we talked about it a lot, right? The two things that has never changed since they have been on the market, right? Stocks and real estate. Brandi,
Yep.
I talked to you about it. Stacy, we talked a lot about it. These are two things that build wealth without having to worry about, oh, it's a trend or it's a fad or people like are just it has been consistent
Mhm.
over time. And that's what is important. Now, Stacy, I know you like to hold your properties for a very long time. I don't think that you get rid of anything. You're like a hoarder. So
Well, yeah.
let's talk about that. So long term thinking versus short term chasing. Why people chase fast money? So why do you think people chase fast money? Then Brandy will go to you.
I think so. I'm gonna say short term investing, flips, wholesaling. They have their purpose, and to me, the purpose for those is to get to the long term investments. But I think people, as a, I think people get more attached to seeing the money, the actual money, versus having the asset which makes the money. So just being able to break that mental cycle of wanting money versus assets that make money. It's two different ways of thinking. So it just makes sense to have assets that make money versus have having had money one time. That's how I think. So it's a mentality.
Gotcha. So Brandy, I know you are a home flipping mentor and your students
Yes.
flip homes.
Yep.
Why do you feel, and not your students, but just in general, doesn't have to do anything with real estate. Just why do people chase fast money?
Um, I think that I was thinking about that too when he was responding to like just pertaining to real estate. But I also think that social media has a huge influence on what we're exposed to. And I think that there was a time when you didn't know what people were doing in Dubai. right? Like you didn't even know about Dubai. Okay. Because first of all, who knew? Because you would have to look it up and know. And somebody was in the military and they told you they were in Qatar. And that's the only way you probably would know about anything over there. Right. So I think that social media has given us so much exposure that people now desire to do things that are costly in a short amount of time. And they're like, the only way I'm going to get to do these things is to make money really fast. Right. And this is the majority, because there are a lot of people that just need more money in general. Like they don't have an education. They don't want to go to school. They just want to figure out a trade or something that they can do on the side to make more money as quick as possible, to do basic things, buy a car, buy their, like, get college money, like tuition money for their children, whatever, just basic needs. I think the state of people's financial management, stewardship, discipline requires them to only be able to see short term. Right? Like your tire goes out today, tomorrow, right? I need something for that right now. I don't have something for that. Like there's such an urgency to get more money right now. And it's a crippling way to think. It really is, because like I tell my students this all the time. Everything that requires money also could just require people. So like I might need $500. I might need the actual money. Like I could think of a million ways to get $500, but I also could think of a million people to ask to get $500. And like who I am as a person, I could get $500 in a week, in a day, in a month, in a year, right?
5 minutes.
2 seconds, right? But that's about who you are. And that's about how you see relationships and building relationships, keeping relationships, and sustainability of how you leverage what you give and how much people are willing to give back to you. But that is also a method of trading. Like money is a tool that you trade for something that you want. Knowing people is also a tool of something that you trade for something that you need or want, right? People eat. I'm like raising money for something right now, and it's not a small amount of money. And the first 5 people I called was like, there's no way I would not give you money. Like,
that's real.
I don't care when you pay me back. Just pay me back this year. This is a lot of money. This is not like, I've never even asked anybody for money because I just don't really do it. But it taught me like, hey, you know what? There's a barrier, and that barrier has a cost. But my relationships is going to pay the cost.
That's real.
I love that.
That's real.
Being
It's crazy.
Being a servant leader, and I think that we all are servant leaders. We're either serving the people that we're housing, we're serving the businesses that we're supporting, we're serving someone. And I know Myron Golden says it all the time. Serve people, like help somebody. If you're not helping someone and you're only thinking about helping yourself, you will never have those relationships.
So true.
Absolutely.
Now, the dangers of short-term thinking in real estate, I think they go hand in hand with trying to have quick money. Even with flipping homes, it's not quick. You're not going to flip a home in a day. Well, you might.
Nope.
Some people might, but I don't know.
You can, but
It's like, man, that actually worked.
that'd be good.
We're going to do it in 2 months. We
On
actually did
paper.
it in 2 months. I'm shocked. Wow.
On paper, you can flip it.
Exactly.
So let's talk about dangers of short-term thinking in real estate. So let's go with Stacy this time. Stacy, let's talk about it. What are the dangers of short-term thinking in real estate?
Well, the dangers, I would say the biggest danger would be not focusing on the bigger picture. For instance, if you're going into flips or you're going into long-term holds and you're strictly thinking short-term, you're not looking at how things can shift quickly, So just not looking at the bigger picture from start to finish. Again, running the whole scenario out. The cost of material can I'll give you a great one. COVID. When COVID hit, the cost of a 2x4 went from like $3 to 12. If you thinking short term and you went into a project thinking I'm about to get this done fast, I'm gonna get a lot of money real fast, it's gonna happen how I think it's gonna happen, and then you get smacked with a $9 increase on lumber. Yeah, it's not gonna work for you. So you have to have a long term way of thinking and be able to see things beyond just today, tomorrow, 30 days from now. Like your exit strategies have to be long term. If you want to go into the financial side of it, taxes. If you're going into properties thinking short term flipping, not really accounting for, as Brandi said, not accounting for different fees and costs, and you think you made a certain amount, but you didn't factor in your taxes, you have problems. So it's to me, those would be the two biggest.
Love it.
Brandi. So let's go to you, Brandi.
Tell me the question one more time.
Dangers of short-term thinking in real estate.
Okay, I just want to make sure I answer it. Short-term thinking. I did this for a long time. I did wholesaling for a while, and I now think about all the houses that I sold. I mean, I sold houses for like $30,000. I sold houses for like 50. I mean, imagine having houses that you sold for like 50,000 that are worth like 150 right now. I mean, I probably sold more than 200 and something houses, and it's just like that's a lot of if I would have just kept 50 of them, right? Where would I be further now? Just in appreciation. Not even, and I'm thinking about just like I have a small rental portfolio now, and I see how quick that appreciation and equity is just in this few houses. And I can't imagine where I would be if I would have thought long term, like, hey, what if I had 100 in 5 years? Well, what if I had 75 of these in the next 3 years? Where would that put me financially? And net worth is something I didn't even think about until 2023. Like, really sit down and say, what is my net worth now, and where do I want it to be?
Can I circle back on that?
Yeah. Do it.
So what gave me my mindset early on was speaking to a lot of people who had that exact same answer when I would ask them some of their regrets in real estate. And they would always say, I wish I had held more. I wish I didn't sell these. I wish I didn't sell that, So, and they have I'm pretty sure you have some very specific examples of some houses you're like, wow, I sold that for 50 and it's worth 250 now with no work.
Yep.
So yeah, that was a good one. I like that. I like that you touched on that.
You gotta tell them. Gotta let them know. Keep the houses.
So can I double back on that? I'm gonna give you another because that kind of triggered something that is real prevalent right now. If you're a short-term thinker, you're thinking that the current price of housing and the interest rate and the availability, like you're thinking now is a bad time to buy. That's a short-term way of thinking. That's probably the worst thing to think in real estate at this moment in time. I'm not saying that every house on the market, there are some overpriced, but there's some great priced houses that in 10 years from now, whoever buys, they're going to be having these type of conversations, if not more, better. So that thinking about now,
And that's a good segue into the next topic. And Stacy, I feel like you have the most patience of a person that I have ever met. So when patience matters more than speed. And Stacy has been preaching to me for 3 or 4 years. Get in real estate. Get in real estate. Oh, I don't sell any of my properties. Like he's been telling me this for years, and I just took it serious last year. So, when patience matters more than speed, let's talk about that. So, how did you become so patient, and why does it matter more than speed?
The honest answer to that is it again, just having good mentors who early on instilled in me the longevity and honestly, having solid upbringing. My pops, he preaches, invest in loan and real estate. So it's just, I guess you could say, a product of environment or of influence is just talking to different people and being in the room with people who were in real estate. And their thing was always, hey, at one point when I first started, this house was not what it's worth now. Or um, don't get caught up in thinking that what's going to happen is you're going to buy a house and you're rich and you're going to quit your job. That's just not going to happen. One house is not going to change most people's lives. Might and it could sway you one way or another depending on how good the deal is. But I think just being around people and having mentors who was just real and raw with it. Like I didn't come up under gurus. I didn't have anybody who was like trying to sell me anything or trying to show me a lifestyle. The only thing they was doing was trying to just build wealth and provide for their families. So I think that was kind of what gave me that mindset. Did I answer the question?
Yeah, you answered it. Yeah.
Okay.
So
You can lose that question now. You just start
Hey.
talking. Like,
you get the going off.
I'll pull you guys back in. I want you
Appreciate
guys
it.
to, yeah, I want you guys to
Because
talk.
I get
This
so
is for you
involved in
guys.
Stacy even talking, I don't even really remember the question. I'm like, that was a good answer. That was a good answer. I don't even remember the question, but that was a good answer.
But some things stood out to me what Stacy said, like mentors. And another thing that stood out to me was Brandi, you were saying that you wish you would have held more properties.
Yep.
But that came from you being in real estate so long and seeing how it changes and knowing what you know now.
Yep.
So let's get that take from dangers of not dangers, but when patience matters more than speed. So how did you become so patient? Just like you were talking about with your first big deal.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I think something happens to you when you reach a certain point in your bank account. Like, this is what people don't talk about either. There's like a mind shift also when you have like 2 years worth of cash in your account, right? Life starts to slow down. And then it's like the desperation that comes with the hustle of making a deal or hustle of making money for next month or next week. When you lose that, it kind of naturally just creates patience, because I don't want to take from what actually happened to me, right? Where people are like, I gotta be more patient. I just gotta be like, something happened to me. I made money and I made so much money that something changed. And then I just became more patient because I could take time to wait for the right deal to come. And then I was put in the position to make better decisions over and over again, right? What I tell my students is there's a process. Everybody pays for it. Like, coach or not, we all have to learn ourselves. And we all have things that we're going to learn through the process. I could tell you 1,000 times, don't do this, don't do that. And then you're going to forget some of the things I say, and you're going to go and do it and be like, dang, she told me not to do that. I forgot she told me to do this, right? Yeah, I love that. From survive to thrive. Yes, that's exactly what it is. From survival to thriving. So I think that is what helped me be more patient. And I think if we could just take time, just going through the process and allowing our financial situation to get better, it will give us the opportunity to rest in knowing like how to seeing where the better opportunities are, seeing where the direction that we should go is even available to us, because we're so used to surviving that we're used to these are the ways to survive. And when you stop surviving, you're like, man, I didn't even see that door over there. I've never even talked to anybody at the grocery store, right? And then you're like, now I'm talking to people at the grocery store. Like, what are you doing today? How are you? Right? It's just things just change. Everything about you just begins to shift, and then new opportunities that you would have never even paid attention to kind of just come to you.
Yeah.
So I think that's what changed for me. That's how it happened.
I love that. And
Confidence.
Yeah.
Confidence is, hey, when you can walk away from a deal, you got confidence. You have confidence. Okay, well, I'm not gonna get
There'll
that.
be another one.
There'll be another. And people see that.
You get
People
real
see
bold. You be like, I don't even care.
that.
now I want to talk about investors versus spectators. I know it's a lot of people that say they're going to do things but never do. I was one of them. I just said it. Like Stacey has been preaching to me for years, and I was like, I'm making money doing this.
Yeah.
But it
Some
always
real estate.
yeah. And what happened was taxes. I got hit with taxes, and if I would have invested in real estate, it wouldn't have been so much of a heavy hit. It felt like I got knocked out. And he was telling me, like, you invest in real estate, like stocks and real estate. Now I'm heavy into stocks and real estate because I don't want to have that bill fronted again.
For sure.
And that's what I want to talk about. Investors versus spectators, the mindset. So how do you change your mind from a spectator to becoming an investor? Either of you can go.
Let me go.
Yeah,
Go, Stace.
Off top of my head, I'm one of them people. I believe that, and my pops tell me this all the time. Don't talk about it. Do it. Let me know when you do it. When you start doing it. So I guess the biggest thing for me is to verbalize things. After you verbalize them, find somebody to hold you accountable. A lot of times it's just finding that accountability person who's going to push you and help you go in the right direction. A spectator, a lot of people talk about it. I think the lack of knowledge, like there's a knowledge gap, on top of financial gap. There's, that's a reality. Let's don't act like everybody has the financial means. But I think once you close that knowledge gap and you have the confidence, which Brandi kind of spoke on, we go from survive to thrive. You build some confidence, and once you have the confidence, you're more likely to make that move. But the key is doing the work on a day-to-day, being consistent in the work. A lot of people they want the end product, but it's that consistency. It's those small wins. It's that waking up early enough to actually get ahead of your 9 to 5. Because let's rewind this tape. When I first invested in my investment property, I had a 9 to 5. I still had a W-2. I still punched the clock. I was still going into the office, and eventually it became work from home. But up front, I was still going into the office. I still had my other entrepreneurial ventures going. So some days it just required me waking up at 3, 4 in the morning to get ahead of everything I had to do before I clocked in. So I think a lot of spectators lack the discipline to do those little things to finally be able to get into real estate. And again, once you do those little things, repairing your credit, having discipline enough to save some money. And once you have the discipline to save money and you see some money in your bank account, you're more likely to move on a good deal. I mean, nothing hurt me worse than seeing a good deal and just not being able to buy it. Like, that's probably the worst feeling in the world. Once you have the knowledge, is knowing that this is a good deal. Like once you have the knowledge and you've put in all the little small steps, you're that much more likely to pull the trigger on a good deal. So I think that knowledge, the discipline, and doing those small things, which again could be just waking up two hours earlier, might sound, waking up at 5 instead of 7 might sound bad, but it's not. And if you only have to do that for a certain amount of time to get to a said goal, is it really that bad? So it's just those little things, those little disciplinary actions on a day-to-day, consistency, putting yourself in a position where you can go from survive to thrive, which takes time. It just takes time and patience and consistency. So I think that's why a lot of people become spectators versus actually getting in the game.
Brandi, investor versus spectator mindset. How do people change that?
I love what he said. I tell my students all the time when they come to me, I only want students that are willing to allow me to help them execute. I don't want students that are just here to learn something else, just to put something else on the bookshelf, right? One, I had a strategy call today, and that's just basically a call where I'm just letting them know what I do to coach someone. And the guy said, "What happens in 4 months if it doesn't work?" And I said, "It will work. It's never not worked."
What we talking about here?
And he was like, well, and it's an honest question, right? Like,
Mhm.
what if your program doesn't work, and how do I get my money back, right? And I was like, my program is designed for you to get in the flip. You like the flip opportunity will come to you. The question is, will you take it? And that's a you thing, right? You executing on an opportunity that comes. Like, my job is to teach you how to recognize the opportunity is available. It's your job to act on it. I'm going to give you all the tools that you need to act on it, but it's your job to act on it. I can't refund you for not acting on it. Right? That's a problem that's a today problem. That's not a future problem. So if that's going to come up later, that today.
Yeah.
Right? So don't pay. Right? Because you know yourself, I don't know you. Right? So hold the money until you feel like that problem doesn't exist anymore. Because it's not going to be an educational problem.
I have a similar story, not a real estate, but like a strategy call.
Yeah.
So I was meeting with a marketing agency, and they had some goals set, and I was going through like what I do to make sure they hit sales and all these other things. And they said, "What if it doesn't work?" And immediately I thought, if you go into anything saying that it's not going to work, then it's not.
It's not gonna work.
But also, I am a continuous improvement coach. That's one of my skills. Continuously improving. So if you get better every 2 weeks and you are trying to accomplish a goal in 3 months, you don't think it's going to work?
It's going to work.
And it's a certain system that I implement. So you review what's working and you take out what's not working.
Yep.
So if you keep doing that on repeat, why would you think it's not going to work? So it just spawned a thought in my mind when you said it, like, what if it doesn't work? That's your mindset. If you say that I'm going to have $100,000, you're going to have $100,000. If you say I'm going to go broke, you're going to go broke.
Yeah.
Really fast.
Yeah, because the fear you're drawn to the fear, right? Or you're drawn to the achievement or the success of what you are speaking, right? You're going to be drawn to whatever the words that you speak, right? Something else I wanted to say that I think is worth mentioning. I think that I always like to, because everybody's different, everybody's environment is different, their circumstances are different. And I know that like everybody doesn't grow up the same, they don't have the same parents or whatever. But what I think is common between Stacy and I is that, and maybe you too, Dominique, but I heard Stacy speak about his dad and what his dad instilled. And this is what my dad instilled, right? And so I'm listening to him say the things that his dad told him and how his dad was like, you have to invest and you have to get real estate. You have to do these things. I mean, I bought a wholesaling program when I was 19 and I didn't start doing wholesale until 5 years ago. So like, think about 19 and 5 years ago. It's like 15 years of, I literally had something that I didn't have a clue about. And then out of nowhere, totally didn't even remember that the program that my dad and I bought was even wholesaling. Didn't even know it was wholesaling until I'm already doing wholesaling, making a lot of money. And then I go and randomly find it at my dad's house. And I'm like, this is the same thing I'm literally doing today. Right. So I think it's noteworthy to see two adult son and daughter living out what their father said about what they could do. Right. And just the presence of a father saying, like, this is what you need to do. And this is what you need to do. You can do the things you want, but these are the things you have to do. And these are the things you need to do. And not only do you need to do them, you can do them. You can do them.
Yeah, my story is a little different from you guys, but it's
that's why I wanted to say, like,
yeah,
you know, we're different and everybody's different, but
mm-hmm.
take that, because people have kids now.
Yeah,
like there are fathers people are fathers right now.
Yeah, so I am. My story is different, but it made me do those things that your fathers were telling you to do. Like,
Yep.
I didn't have my father. I lost my father at 12. But what that did to me was make sure that I teach, not taught, because I'm still teaching.
Sure.
I teach my sons as much as possible about the things I know. And my wife and I talk about it. So, like, when is it going to click for him? Like, my oldest son, he's a teenager, and he's like, whatever. Like, all the time, like, okay. That's all he says. Okay, Dad. Okay, Dad.
It's there.
And I tell my wife all the time, I said, one day it's going to click, and it's going to be
Absolutely.
I'm not around him to remind him, because I'm setting the foundation.
Yep.
I don't know about girls, but boys, you gotta be the in our head all the time.
Yep.
But it's the same thing. I just a little different, but the same in different, I guess, perspectives.
Yeah, time. It's a different time. Like, you're just now teaching your children what someone has done in the past for us. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's about that exposure, man. It's you're exposing them to a mindset, and if nothing else, they will. It's there, and they're far ahead of people who aren't being exposed to it, or who've been exposed to different mindsets. So trust me, it's there. It's sitting dormant, idle. I consider it a brick in in the foundation that eventually, once the house all comes together, he'll come together and it'll make sense. You know.
Yep.
Yeah. So I've been taking notes
Uh-oh.
because you guys are the experts. And the reason I've been taking notes is because I want to show people how to execute, right? Now, first thing is, first deals fail due to lack of structure, not knowledge. You both touched on it. You have to structure your systems the way that it needs to be structured by learning from someone, so you can accelerate your path of investing. That's number one. Deal flow system. You have to have a team or individuals that can help you close deals fast, which it could be a coach, which it could be a broker, or etc. Something like that, a deal flow system. And I've just been putting things down as we're speaking. Decision system. Like you said, Brandi, when someone asks you, like the spreadsheet, let's say, for example, you need to make a decision, but you put your information in that spreadsheet. So now you're like, the decision is easier to make, because if it doesn't spit the right thing out, then you shouldn't do it. But you can do it, but you're not going to make as much. And I've told you this.
Yes.
So that's going to sway a person's decision, and it's going to give them more insight on what they're doing before they make the mistakes. Execution system. That's something that I really thrive in. Like I said, continuous improvement and always executing. Iterative approach to doing real estate or any business. You have to have these reviews on an improvement system, not just the execution. Whether it's the fees, how much did you pay for your first deal, what fees were involved, all these things that you have to have, which you guys are knowledgeable on, will help someone when it comes to getting into real estate. And now I'm gonna stop there, because this was about you guys and making sure that you guys taught as much as possible for the audience, but that's what I took away in how my brain thinks.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone thinks differently. So my brain thinks of how to execute, how to improve, how to get to goals.
Love
And
it.
that's what I took away from the conversation tonight.
Can
Now,
I add one thing to that?
go ahead.
I cannot leave it out. Like in the back of my mind is there. It has to be said. It's all in who you know. If you can make a phone call and you have someone who can refer you a plumber who has been vetted through them,
Yep.
you're gonna save yourself a lot of money.
Yep.
So it's all in who you know, or not all in who you know, but you can save yourself a lot of time,
Mm-hmm.
stress, and money in knowing someone who is doing what you're doing
Absolutely.
or want to do. However you want to say it.
And that's a great segue. I'm glad you said that because the next thing I want to do is give advice to people stuck watching content. Because people like to just watch YouTube videos, HGTV, whatever the case may be. They just watch, and never do, even though say, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it next week, or I'll reach out to someone,
Yeah.
but they never do it. So what advice can you guys give people that just are stuck watching content? Brandi, let's lead off with you.
Whew. If it's not about money, if it's not about the need for the money that, if money is a hindrance, right? Because there's programs that cost, and it's like, I don't have the money, I don't have the extra income. If it's not about money, then you don't hate where you are enough. Like when I get sick of a season, then I do something to change it. And I think people don't see discomfort as an opportunity to elevate. They would rather talk about their comfort. What does that mean? You're in a place that you don't want to be, but it's comfortable, but you would rather just talk about how you don't want to be there. Right? You just want to talk about the discomfort, but you don't want to do anything to change it. Man, you have to start doing little things. I tell people all the time, if you can't drink water, people hate drinking water. Basic water. Just drink what your body is made of water. It's like if you can't put Coke down, tea, lemonade, and just drink water. Start there. It's like, you know what I'm gonna do today? I'm gonna drink 2 bottles of water. I hate drinking water. I can't stand water. And you know what's gonna happen to your mind? Your mind is gonna say, even though I don't like this, I'm gonna do it anyway. And every time you do those type of habits, the good habits, you'll be able to make the decisions to stop watching content on the internet and do something about it. Because these are your daily things that you can't overcome. And if you can't overcome these daily things that will change your life, then why would you do anything else that will change your life?
So that's a slogan. Drink water, get in real estate.
Boom.
All right, Stacy. Let's go to you.
I would say the best thing to do is figure out that mental block. Like figure out what is it? Like what is the one thing or what are the things that are stopping me from making this move? Identify those. And once you identify those, just work at trying to move those barriers out of your way. If it's a knowledge gap, stop watching the content and start talking to actual people who have the information versus
Exactly.
you online. It's only so much you're gonna get from clips and shorts and YouTube. You can get a lot, but it's different when you talk to someone who says, yeah, over on XYZ street, I did this. These are the things I ran into with the city. These are the contractors that I've used. This is, just they're able to get past the bigger picture and down into the details. So it's just identifying why am I so drawn to the content and versus the actual action itself. Identify that and then work at removing those blocks. And accountability. I'm telling you, I've learned that when you speak things to other people, you put things out to other people, you have someone who's going to ask you, hey, did you do this? It makes you want to move a little bit. It motivates, if you're the type to do something in the first place, it'll motivate you to actually act on it versus just talk about it and look at it online. So accountability and identifying, find someone, and I'm not trying to pitch anything. I'm just saying that accountability person may be your best friend who, that's it may be your husband, your wife, it could be anybody, but find someone who you can express your goals in real estate with and have them hold you accountable. Identify the roadblocks or the mental blocks as to why you don't pull the trigger on investing. Remove those mental barriers. So I think that's the best way to get past scrolling content all the time. And it's addictive because I'll be honest, I do it myself. I'm in the game. I'll sit and watch bulldozers and heavy equipment all
Tearing stuff
day.
down. Yep.
All day.
Tear it down, clean it up.
Yeah, I'll sit and watch people reframe, and I'll watch different ways to do this and that. And then I'll say to myself, let me actually do what I need to be doing instead of watching everybody else doing what they're doing.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that mental barrier. And for me, the mental barrier is sometimes just put it on do not disturb. So when I pick it up to reply to a text message, I don't start scrolling and an hour later I'm still scrolling, So that's one of my mental barriers. My phone has it on do not disturb, so I don't even want to pick it up and start scrolling. So
Yeah. I actually have all of my social media on my work phone. And so my personal phone has no social media. So like I leave my work phone, away. And so even when I wake up in the morning, there's like no social media to even go to. So it like cut out like spending time going to social media in the morning or in the evening or when I'm talking to like family or stuff and I don't get distracted talking on speaker. And then now I'm scrolling while I'm talking and they're like, did you hear what I said? Nope, didn't hear what you said because I was on Instagram, right? So now I'm like more attentive, right? Even when I'm having like important conversations with people. So I think that's huge. I think I think accountability too is a huge one. I mean, who do you listen to? Who is the person that influences you? Like, who is that person? Right? And do you want what they have? Do you want the life they have? Do you want the things they have? Or should you realign your life to focus on being accountable to someone that you actually want the results that they've been able to produce and you can see, So I think every single human being should be accountable to someone.
So I guess what I could say is it's a few key things that I would say to do to go from consuming content to taking action.
Mm-hmm.
One, and I'll go through a day. Pray.
Yep.
Get up in the morning, pray. Two, go to the gym. And I'm going to tell you why. I named those two things. When you pray and you read the Bible before you get your day started, you have a clearer way of thinking. When you go to the gym every day that you say you're going to go, you build that discipline to do things that you don't want to do.
Yep.
And then I'm going to go to the third thing. Get into this Skool community.
Yes.
Period. Because it has all of those things in it. We have Bible study, we have workouts, we have systems, and we have people in place to help you. And the best thing about it is it's free. So when you join the Skool community, it's free to join, and then you'll have access to Brandi Skool community. You have access to Stacy. You have access to me and a whole bunch of others that can hold you accountable, and you can follow this structure to making your life better. So don't forget, real estate doesn't fail people. Lack of structure does.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all got anything you want to say before we close? All
For
right.
the first time in history, I have nothing to say.
I don't
All right.
believe that. Thank you
All
for
right.
having me. I appreciate being here for sure.
Yes.
I look
and
forward to
until-
it.
Every Wednesday, guys, we'll be here. Every Wednesday, every week. We'll be here dropping gems, dropping jewels. And make sure you ask questions because during these lives, it's open floor. You can ask questions, we'll respond, but priority are Skool community members.
Sure.
If you're not a part of the Skool community, and if you're messaging us on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn, then we probably won't see it. I have the link up to Skool in the website, well, the web page up, so I could answer those questions. I could ask questions to Stacy and Brandi as we go along. So join the Skool community. These lives are public, but they will be private after this month. And only you can find them in Skool community. So again, real estate doesn't fail people, lack of structure does. Thank you.
Love it.
Salute.